I'm putting the trashy in Trashy Diva. Hello everyone! Welcome to another video with me, Stephanie Canada, the owner of Backroom Finds. Today we're going to do something slightly different than our usual vintage entourage. Today we're going to be reviewing the Reproduction brand, Trashy Diva. So you know how this video is going to go today? I'm going to begin with a brief history from the company as their About page says on their website. I'm going to tell you how I found it. Then we'll jump into the fun stuff where you get to see all of my pretty dresses. I'll come back to talk about the positives and the negatives of the brand, and the general takeaway of my thoughts on the company. First up, I do want to state that this is not a sponsored video. All opinions are my own, and I have been paid in no way by the company to make this video. In fact, it's probably the exact opposite, because I have spent a lot of money with them. The company's history as written on their website, slightly paraphrased, is: Trashy Diva was started by designer and owner Candace Gwen. In 1996, with bags of secondhand clothing, a $5,000 college fund, and a dream, Trashy Diva opened its doors to a tiny retail shop in the French Quarter of New Orleans. Following a website launch in 1997, and years of dealing exclusively in vintage garments from the 1800s through 1960, Candace sought a better way to fit all the needs of the expanding customer base. So Trashy Diva, the clothing brand, first began with reproduction of two 1930s silk garments in 1999. They now feature monthly collections in sizes 0 to 24 with inspiration from true vintage, but also from employees and customers. So now that you know that little tidbit, here's how I found the company. I was completely oblivious to this wonderful brand until about 2012. When I smartly, sure we'll call it that, decided to take a road trip from Orlando, Florida to Long Beach, California. Yeah, that may not have been my best plan, but I got to go through New Orleans, which I had never been to, and I decided to spend 3 days and 2 nights there. After a particularly drunken evening on Bourbon Street, I woke up the next morning and rolled out of bed and decided to attempt to put on vaguely decent clothing and go shopping. Because that's what you do when you've decided to drive across the country and you're in New Orleans, I guess. As I was walking through the French Quarter, I noticed this shoe store with a very pretty logo out front, and me being a longtime shoe salesman in a previous life, thanks 9 West, I had decided that that was going to be my very first stop. So I go in and there's all of these gorgeous shoes everywhere and I'm just flabbergasted. And I'm talking to a lovely shop assistant and I ask, these are absolutely amazing, but is this all you guys have? Is there not any clothing? And she looked at me like I'd grown a third head. And she goes, yeah, we're mainly a clothing store and our shop's a few doors down. I went, oh, well, don't I feel sheepish? Yeah, did that. So I venture down to the clothing store and my whole world changes. I walk into this glorious shop in the spring of 2012. And I'm looking around just floored at all of these glorious prints, these wonderful cuts, of which are all my style, and previously I'd only really been able to find at places like JCPenney's. Because I'm from Ohio. Thanks, Mom. So as I'm going through this amazing store, the shop assistant noticed me, I'm sure, drooling as I'm walking around. And she asked me if I need any help, and of course I say yes, because I don't know what I'm looking at and I would like to know more. She tells me a little bit about the company and how they make reproduction dresses from original prints in modern sizing, which is directly up my alley, and I am prepared now to spend a lot of money. After trying on a few dozen dresses and having the shop assistant, female of course, who had helped me find the dresses to begin with, wrangle my boobs into the correct placement in these dresses. That was fun. I ended up taking home 3 dresses. I acquired the day dress of the Pearl Harbor print. I acquired the cage dress of the tribal print and the red cotton poplin honey for my very first purchases. none of which fit or I own anymore, in the original ones I bought. And a lovely red bow tie necklace, which still does fit, and I still own. Hey, small win. So after dropping over $500, I walked out of the store with 3 very lovely dresses and promptly forgot about the brand entirely as I finished my road trip across the country, because the dresses fit me so well and lasted so well I didn't need to go back and look for more because they fit and I loved them. All of that changed in 2017 when I went to work at the Pittsburgh Opera and met my wonderful friend who was the assistant director there, and I noticed one of her dresses and it was beautiful. And I said, that is a fabulous dress, and it looks like a brand that I think I used to have called Trashy Diva. And she stared at me quite blankly, going, I've never met someone that could peg that brand before. And from there, it was all downhill, because she introduced me to this wonderful Facebook group called Desperately Seeking Trashy Diva. Yeah, I sort of wish I never knew about this site because I spent far too much money acquiring old dresses. But they're so pretty, so I don't care. The wonderful part of this website is that it allows you to buy older dresses that are out of print secondhand, so you're not spending quite as much money. The downside to this website is that you can buy the dresses secondhand as not quite as much money, which means that I was able to acquire the amazing Pearl Harbor print in the largest size made, and while I don't exactly fit into her yet, by golly, I will one day. Now let's head over and check out my closet. I decided the best way to show you guys my entire closet would be to take everything outside, in Florida, when it was really windy. I did a final tally, at least on my dresses, and including the one that I'm wearing that isn't in the photograph, I own 26, of which I wear about 75% of them, so that's not too bad. One of the most important factors of buying anything online is to know the sizing is correct. And while I do enjoy Trashy Diva, that is not their strong suit. They recently changed their website to include a universal size chart. And for me personally, I range from a 16 to a 20 in their brand, and their size chart isn't even close depending on which dress I'm looking at. And unfortunately, you can't really try them on unless you are lucky enough to be in New Orleans or Atlanta. So you're dependent on the reviews of other people that are in the New Orleans area, or they occasionally will do a try-on video, which is quite helpful. I hope you enjoyed watching me twirl around in my favorite dresses. Let me know down in the comments which one is your favorite, or if you have a print or a cut that you own and prefer, let me know which one it is. I want to hear from all of you. Also, please do let me know if there are any reproduction brands you would like me to review next. My favorite phrase to use for this brand when I'm walking around in the dresses is, when I look down and notice that I'm starting to show more than I'd like, is, I'm putting the trashy in Trashy Diva. Now that you've been able to see a little snippet of my closet, and by little snippet I mean 75% of the things that I wear, I'm going to discuss the positives of the brand. I do love how their inclusive sizing really does go from 0 to 24s. I also truly enjoy the fabric, like this fabric that you see me wearing here, which is called a stretch rayon. Friends, that is what we call socially acceptable pajamas. Everyone that sees these dresses think they're absolutely gorgeous and that you put so much effort into it, when in fact I'm basically wearing yoga pants as a dress, and I'm completely okay with it. I also appreciate that they're one of the handful of small shops that are female-owned and very, very successful. They also support other small female-owned businesses, i.e. shoes and jewelry, in their shops. They do almost exclusively make things out of natural fibers, and try to make each print in different styles so that they're more accessible to different body types. Plus, their newly redesigned website makes it much easier to search for, acquire, and, when necessary, return the dresses. I also really enjoy most of the older prints that they would select, because they're directly up my aesthetic. Now for some of the negatives of the brand. There have been moments in the past where the customer service has not always been ideal, to the extent that if the owner disagrees with some of the comments that are being made on their Instagram or Facebook, they will actually block the users entirely from that platform. While they do sell up to size 24, it is unfortunately like most brands where those sizes are made in fewer quantities and sell out like quick. Because there could be a launch and 30 minutes later you could not have your size. But this isn't exclusive to this brand, it's a larger systematic problem in the clothing industry. But still good to note that if you want your size in the larger sizes, get there quick! In the past, they tried to use a diverse range of models to show off their sizing and how it works on different skin tones. And while they do that for some prints, it's not an overall that they do for every single one. It's been difficult sometimes for those that don't look exactly like the beautiful ginger model to decide how the print will look on their skin tone. My personal issue with the brand is that in recent launches, they've started to veer more toward the 70s aesthetic and printing and cuts, which your girl doesn't feel. So while I appreciate that this allows people that do enjoy that aesthetic to acquire things that are not made from synthetics, which is what was primarily used in the 60s and 70s, it's not for me at all. Ever. I personally would prefer if they would come back more strongly with the 40s and 50s styles, because a lot of the other repro brands that I've tried that do the 50s and 40s don't do the cuts as well for my body, and don't do the materials that I like, such as stretch rayon, regular rayon, and cottons. They're more into the synthetics, which are lovely at first, but eventually get kind of hot and unfortunately retain smell, which, when you're in one of these dresses and are so close to your armpits, is sort of problematic. Trashy Diva has also sort of chosen to, how we say, have some questionable print choices. These are just a few, and they range from questionable names, like Deco Daffodil, what part of that is Deco, to questionable imagery and names. And while the older quality of the stretch rayon really stands well with the test of time, my newer ones that I've acquired, I wore it the first time with a seatbelt and I had pilling on the front of my dress. Not happy. But I do know how to correct it, so I don't really feel the need to make a big stink about it. But I have noticed that the stretch rayon quality has gone down a little bit over time, whereas this one, which is from I don't remember when, has withstood the test of many, many things, including my infant, and being hand-washed, because Mama ain't got time for all that dry cleaning. Another issue is going to be their zipper choices. Most of the time they opt for those heinous invisible zippers, which, P.S. by the way, we all hate! Please stop making them with invisible zippers, they're terrible. My takeaway for this brand is that while I don't always agree with everything that they put out, or how they always interact with people, I still give them my money. I do. I'll admit it. I give them my money. They almost got me when I went to their About page to do research for this video, because they had a sale going on, and I was real tempted. I do still love the brand. I will still continue to buy things from them. And I do hope eventually that we can turn the corner and maybe head back in time a little bit, back to the glorious prints and the cuts that I enjoy. But I am glad that she is opening up her company to a wider scale of customers that can enjoy her prints as well. Alright folks, if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give that like button a click. And if you want to see more videos from me, go ahead and click that subscribe button as well. Turn on that bell for post notifications so that YouTube can maybe tell you when I put out a new video. Thanks so much for watching, y'all. See y'all next time. Today we're going to be reviewing the Don't look at me. I had a moment. By Doing Love. Doing Love? Previously, I'd only been able to find dresses like this at JCPenney's and Kohl's. Because thanks, Midwestern moms. Lovely shop assistant that I talked to the first time, female of course, opted to show me the correct way to wear the dress by physically moving my boobs into place. Wrangle my boobs into the correct placement in these dresses. Dang it. And a lovely red bow tie lucite necklace. Lucite? No. I don't know what it is. It's something pretty and plastic, but it's cute. Now, here we go. I don't like how they're leaning more toward the slimmer lines and to the extraordinarily deep V cuts. You girls got something up here. I can't be showing down to my navel. It just doesn't function. These don't stand up magically on their own. Like, there's structure in here to keep these girls where they're supposed to be.